Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats were looking to add some muscle to the roster this offseason, and they just got it in the form of rising star Mouhamed Dioubate.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's try it a third time. What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we are going to be breaking down the latest commitment in the transfer portal for Mark Pope and the Cats. That's right, Mouhamed Dioubate out of Alabama has committed, the third transfer portal prospect the Cats have picked up outside of Jaylen Low and Cam Williams. The Cats are cooking in the portal, and a lot of you wanted to melt down about what Kentucky was doing. I think they've got the ball rolling here. I think it's fair to say. We are live on YouTube. At least I hope we're live on YouTube. I tried to go live 3 different times, and it seemed like YouTube just simply did not want to let me do so. Hopefully you guys can see me here live on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast here, I would love it if you subscribe there. If you're watching on YouTube and you're new, hey, subscribe here. We're going to have a ton of transfer portal stuff here throughout the offseason. And today, obviously, I want to talk about Mo and obviously what he brings to the table, because it's a very interesting piece that Mark Pope has elected to add to this roster. But also, we've yet to talk about Lowe, who committed here just a couple of days ago. We also have the potential addition of Wesley Yates, because apparently Kentucky's going after him. A lot of stuff going on, and that recruitment right now, we'll dive into all of it here live on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app. You can create an account, and you can use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. 175 of you in here already. Like the video if you enjoy what you see. We're going to be breaking this one down here for you. A new commitment for Kentucky basketball here out of Alabama. Kentucky wanted some physicality. They wanted some defense. They wanted something that could help them around the rim, both on offense and defense here this offseason, and I think they've got it in Mouhamed Dioubate. So Mo played 2 seasons at Alabama, really blossomed into a rising star this year in his sophomore season. Offensively, there are a lot of things to like, but what I want to focus on here is something that Kentucky lacked, or has lacked, I think, for several years now, even whether or not Mark Pope's been the head coach or not. And I think that's muscle, physicality, and a little bit of bully ball. And I think that's what you're getting here in a guy like Mo, somebody that I think, again, developed a lot offensively throughout the course of his sophomore year, but you want someone that can bring that edge. You want someone that can bring that muscle, and at 6'7", 220 pounds, I think you're absolutely getting that. And Mo, this past season for Alabama, averaged 9.4 points per game, had an offensive rating of 122.9, excuse me, 7.2 points per game, my mistake. 61.7% is what he shot from the floor, shot 46.2% from 3, wasn't taking a ton of threes, but whenever he had the opportunity, he knocked them down. Also averaged 5.9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 0.7 blocks per contest. As Ito, the F&D points out here in the chat, he is a legit big-bodied rim protector. If you want to go look at some of his other numbers, the thing that stands out to me the most is his defensive rating, 98.6. That's his defensive rating. That would have been the best on Kentucky's team this past season. We talk about bully ball. We talk about things going on around the rim. This is what Kentucky used to be. This is what so many Kentucky fans are used to. This is what they expect. Some physicality, some edge, some athleticism. And at 6'7", Mo is bringing you all of that. He can tween between the 3 and the 4. I think he mostly played the 4 for Alabama. At least that's what Ken Pom says. It reminds me so much of those early John Calipari years where you had all of these different big-time wings and forwards that were not necessarily lethal from beyond the arc, but man, they got to the rim in a hurry and they were super efficient and played some major big-time defense. Take a look at some of the other statistics here with me. He shot 63% at the rim. That was 82% of his field goal attempts. If it's not at the basket, Mo's probably not taking it. It's a little bit of bully ball. Like I mentioned here at the beginning of the show, A little bit of physicality here, a little bit of muscle getting down into the lane and scoring. Glides at different times, can finish through contact. 3.8% block rate to boot, 12% assist rate, really solid at catching opposing defenders off guard. What he likes to do so much is drive in, fake, try and draw a foul, or finish through contact, but he's really good at driving, stopping, and then finding the roll man or finding another man around the basket after teams overhelp or commit. 59th percentile of transition scores. He got about a fifth of his points there. He, again, has a lot of stuff athletically that he can utilize in terms of speed, in terms of jump, in terms of his wingspan. He is somebody that I think a lot of older Kentucky fans, not necessarily older, people who have watched really heavily through the early 2000s and through the early years of John Calipari, I think you're going to see a lot of throwback here in Mo's game. 86th percentile of spot-up scores. That was 16% of his points. Again, he's just getting to the rim. He's hard to stop. At 6'7", you can handle the ball. You can split through guys and finish. It's really, really difficult to stop, and he was somebody, I've got friends actually that are Alabama fans. Shout out, Luke, if you're watching this one. Apologies to you. I've got Alabama fans in my circle that were talking about this kid being a major factor for the Crimson Tide next season. He was getting better and better and better as the season went along for the Crimson Tide. A very good year for him and the team. And this is something that Kentucky lacked. This is something that Kentucky just simply didn't have and hasn't had, again, for a while. This past season, Mark Pope needed guys that could go at the rim and finish. Otega was the only kid that could do so. And now you get a guy like Mouhamed Dioubate, who is going to be able to do just that. He's also in the 59th percentile of putback scores, loves to catch defenders in the air, again, and finish through contact. Apparently, a Zoom call had been set up earlier today. According to Jacob Polachek, a couple of days ago, according to Jacob Polachek of KSR, he tweeted out recently that Mo was expected to make a decision quickly, and that's what you're getting here, an immediate decision. And a lot of you, again, have been worried and frustrated about the fact that Kentucky has talked to apparently all of these different kids, and they've only been able to land what was up until this weekend just one of them. And now you're starting to see the conversation pick up. Kentucky, again, like I mentioned in my most recent episode, they have the opportunity to be selective with who they want to add to this roster. And I think that being patient, talking to the right kids, finding the right fit for your team, I think is the way to go. And after seeing Kentucky essentially have to stretch all of their money so thinly this past offseason, and they were able to make a splash with essentially all of them, I trust what Mark Pope's doing with probably an even larger NIL pool, while also being able to kind of pick and choose his spots instead of having to just go after every single player that he can to fill out a roster. Development, I think, is going to be key. You're seeing a guy here, again, coming off of a big-time year. Are you able to capitalize on that? Are you able to make him as efficient or even more efficient in this Mark Pope system? I think you're going to start to see... You're going to see some conversations about guys like Mo as we sort of round out this portal cycle, because with the addition of guys like Lowe and now like Diabate, you're starting to see Kentucky, I think, trend in a little bit of a different direction than maybe they did last season, while also still maintaining some of the statistical features that you want to add to a Mark Pope system. I'll explain all of this in a little bit more detail here in just a little bit. Let's get to the chat here, talk to you guys. 351 of you in here talking about Mo Diabate. Again, we've got three different guys I want to talk about. Two of them that have committed for Kentucky. It's funny, I had actually just started recording. I was going to talk about Quaintance. I was going to talk about Diabate. I was going to talk a little bit more about Jaylen Low and him committing. I was going to talk about Wesley Yates today. And then as I got into it, I get the notification, oh, look, Kentucky's already got Diabate. So let's take a look at the chat here. Jeff Salyers says he brings toughness Kentucky needs. Mo is a high motor guy. Goated says, what position? I remember hearing him earlier this year, but barely played because of Alabama's rotation. Deadly loss for Alabama next year around. I agree. Again, this seems to be a significant loss for the Crimson Tide. The fact that they lost him and he ended up moving so quickly, I think is kind of, it's kind of surprising. So again, according to Ken Palm, he played mostly at the 4, but he slid up to the 3 A decent amount. If you go and look at how he was being utilized over the final 5 games, their 5th most frequent lineup had him at the 3. Their 3rd most frequent lineup had him playing at the 4. He sort of tweened back and forth between those 2 spots. I think because of his ability to handle the ball, you get that. The kid was not taking outside shots. Let me be clear. He only took 26 three-pointers a season ago, made 12 of them, but you're not getting a ton of outside efficiency. And if you watch the shot form, or not efficiency, you're not getting a ton of volume, excuse me. And if you watch the shot form, I think you understand why. Will he take more threes in Pope's system? Probably. Will that percentage go down? Probably. If you want to go look at his freshman year, he was 1 of 11 during his freshman season with the Crimson Tide. So, yeah, I think that you're getting bully ball, you're getting physicality at the rim, you're getting a throwback cat. I think this is what you're adding here. What about Alvaro? Right now, the most recent update I saw was that he was about to come home. Or not come home. He was about to come back to the United States. He's been in Spain, wanted to take visits, apparently, before he made a decision. Kentucky's contacted the kid, as far as I know. They've done this with essentially every player and their mother. They've had a Zoom call or met them in person. They haven't met Alvaro in person yet, but he would be, man, with Mo. You put Ortega at the 2, you put Mo at the 3, you put Fulgaris at the 4, Garrison at the 5. That's a lengthy lineup, dude. That's a tough out. That is a tough out. Let's see, Pierre and Fulgaris, we will have a legit team, maybe one more front court guy. Yes, I think that if you can, find somebody that's defense oriented. Frankly, I know a lot of people disagree with this. I think Quaintance would be perfect. That's just me. I think that he would be perfect because of some of his statistics and the way that he played before he got injured. I think that if you're able to get a guy like Jaron Pierre and you're able to pair that with Mo, with the freshman coming in, with Fulgaris maybe, that's a very stacked, tall, and athletic roster. Kentucky would upgrade in the positions that they lost, or the places that they struggled last year, which is athleticism and physicality. Grant Robinson said, I'm a fan of the pickup as long as he's good with being the 10th man or even a developmental piece for 26 or 27. Well, he's going to be heading into his junior season. And thinking about it, 10th man in terms of offensive usage, sure. 10th man in terms of minutes, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think there's a good chance that he'd start. Honestly, I mean, you're looking at him and Cam as maybe your 1-2 punch there at the 4. At this point, Kentucky might have that spot covered. To be honest with you, you got a 3-and-D guy in Cam Williams who is uber athletic and can shoot the lights of the ball. You've got a more bully ball type guy that plays incredible defense in Mouhamed Dioubate with a great wingspan to boot. Your 4 is taken care of. I think you split time with those 2 guys and let it rock. You need one more 5. You need one more 5 for your front court and you're golden. You got Marino, you got Garrison. I think you can let those guys fly. Let's see here. Haven't heard any returners come out and say that they're staying. Is there any risk of guys entering the portal? There's no such thing as a jinx, so I'll say it. If Ortega was going to enter, he would have done it already. I think that he is locked in as your number 1 option on offense next season. He proved that he could be that this year. I think with the pieces around him, I think it's going to be even more of a joy. I think for him offensively to be able to get to the rim and finish and do some of the things that he was doing this season even better. I have not heard anything, but as far as I would think, if he would have entered, it would have been by now. Do you still like our chances with Pierre Jr.? You've seen all the different things on social media about how he's following Kentucky staff. He's following different Kentucky players. I literally, because I'm not an insider. Full disclosure, not an insider. If you want to go get inside information, you should probably find it elsewhere on a message board or behind a paywall. You guys can discuss amongst yourselves whether or not it's worth paying for that or not. I just tell you what's public information, and then sometimes we'll bring guys like Jacob Polachek on the show to kind of give you an idea as to what's really going on. Yes, I'll say I like our chances. Do I think we're going to get him? I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to commit anytime soon. I'm saying that I would be excited to see kind of where that goes. To be honest with you, I'm just as excited as a guy like Wesley Yates, who, again, we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But, yeah, I think if you're able to get Pierre or Yates, I think you're in a really, really, really good spot. Let's see here. Also, who do you have in the championship? Shout out Great Kentucky. And I got Florida, though seeing Houston beating them since they beat Duke. I'm going to take Houston. I think that the Cougars are a more well-rounded unit, especially on defense, and I'm curious to see if Clayton goes off again. If he does, Florida wins. I'm banking on him not, and I'm going to take the Cougars. Let's see. Quayton's just hard to build trust again with, but very on board with him. I think because of what he brings to the table relative to the rest of this roster, I would be fired up about it. Absolutely. I should be an insider. Maybe that's in the future. Who knows? How's our bracket doing? It's not doing well, man. I'm not going to lie. It's not doing well. It's not doing poorly. I'll pull it up here as we are just kind of gliding along here on a live stream of Locked On Kentucky. Hey, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, it's like almost like 470 of you in here. Okay, so we have scored 95.1%. Am I seeing? No, that can't be right. That can't be right. I think we're off on that. I'll have to find it post live here. Let's see. Captain Crash 21. He's not Grant Derbyshire, but I like the get. Hey, that's something that we all forget is that Derbyshire, he's back, and he's probably going to be playing a significant role. Julie Sheving in the chat. I feel complete now that Grant Derbyshire has been mentioned, of course. Let's see here. JQ is younger than our incoming freshman, and we only get him 1 year hard pass. I think about this. Walk through this with me. Garrison is a junior. Marino will be a freshman. Quayton's would get his 1 year, and then he would go to the draft? Okay. Marino would be in a sophomore year. He would have developed. You get to play him more. Garrison would be a senior. If he stays, you got a guy that's been in the program for 3 seasons, has developed even further. I'm excited about those two guys. Yeah. Take a flyer on the kid. Get the one time, get the defense to boot with the rest of your roster. I would be okay with that. Especially knowing that you get Malachi Marino sophomore year as kind of a guy that can take off. I am excited about that. But who knows? Maybe he stays injured and he never actually plays. Saw that a lot during the Calipari era. All right, so we'll continue along here. I want to talk about Wesley Yates. I want to talk about Jaylen Low. I haven't even gotten a chance to mention him on the show because it just sort of happened out of the blue. Before we dive into all of that, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. Getting tickets shouldn't be stressful, and that's where Game Time comes in. It makes it easier than ever to grab last-minute tickets at unbeatable prices. They've got Game Time picks where they've got curation that makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, anything near you. Obviously, whenever the Braves actually wake up and start playing baseball, I'll go buy some more tickets and go check them out. And, of course, I'm going to use Game Time. It's the place to go. It's super easy shopping. They've got super deals, and it's peace of mind. You get in, you get out, you find your tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. You get pictures, the views for your seats. It's even better in person. I love using Game Time. I will literally use them for everything. If I want to go to a concert, which I'm going to one this Thursday, get my ticket through Game Time. Absolutely, and you can take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time by downloading the Game Time app, creating an account, and using code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, continuing along here on the Monday edition of Locked On Kentucky. Doesn't feel like Monday. Does it? Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. Appreciate everybody in the live chat. Look, if you have not subscribed, we'd love to have you. We've got a lot of stuff going on here at Locked On Kentucky, breaking down players in the transfer portal. Obviously, this Diabate commitment kind of snuck up on us, as well as the commitment of Jaland Lowe. This may be a little bit of me preaching to the choir here, but let me break this down. What do I think about Ian Jackson? I think he's a talented kid. I just don't think that he fits in next year's roster with Jasper and Caden and Owe and Chandler and now Jaland. I think that he would be a great get. I just don't see the room. I don't see where he could fall in here. That's just me. But Jaylen Lowe, a 6'3" guard out of Pittsburgh, committed to Kentucky over the weekend. PG1, Kentucky found him. Everybody had been freaking out, worrying, oh my goodness, what's Kentucky doing in the portal? And then they get this kid what feels like out of nowhere, and he's one of the best passers in the country. I think that's where you start. There's a lot of people freaked out about some of the statistics. Just walk with me here. At 6'3", had a 31% assist rate. That was top 60 nationally. That is great. He's got wiggle. He's got great handles. He's got the size at 6'3", and Pittsburgh abused him. They ran this kid into the ground, used him every trip down the floor, shooting, passing, everything. They ran everything through this kid, and man, it was tough to watch at times. 16.8 points per game. Shot 37.6% from the floor, 26% from three, 5.5 assists, 4.2 rebounds, 1.8 steals, by the way. The kid had to play a ton. He had to play a ton. He had to take a ton of shots. He had to run the offense. He had to do everything for them. As a sophomore, I think Kentucky's going to be just fine with this kid at point guard. In fact, I think they're going to be great for two reasons. Number one, Lamont Butler. I'm going to pull this up. I didn't have it pulled up immediately. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Lamont Butler, in his final season at San Diego State, had an offensive rating of 103.1. He shot 31% from three, and he was mediocre offensively. The previous 3 years, by the way, at SDSU, didn't crack 100 in offensive rating. He just wasn't very good offensively. Couldn't create his own shot, couldn't shoot very well, was great defensively, and never had an assist rate over 25. 1 year at Kentucky, 116.3 offensive rating, shot 39.1% from three, and had an assist rate of 28%. Everything got better. His shot selection was good because he had an offense that could create for him because of how important the five-man was. He distributed the ball better because, again, the offensive structure was better. He shot better from three. Everything was better for him. He got to the foul line more. He shot good. He shot well, I would say, from the charity stripe. He improved. With Jaylen Low shooting 35.2% in his freshman year at Pitt, where he averaged 9.6 points, it tells me he can shoot. You go and watch him, you watch the form, kid can shoot. Absolutely he can shoot. With the handles, with the size, with the new offensive structure, this kid's going to be a star. He shot 56% at the rim. That was a third of his shots. From right break three, left break three, right elbow, left elbow, he shot 27% or worse, which, again, I think he's going to be much better efficiency-wise. He couldn't create off the dribble, 38% effective field goal percentage, but he was in the 72nd percentile of ISO scores and 63rd percentile of ball screen handler scores. If he was more efficient, his points per possession would go up, and he'd be much higher in those percentiles there. The most interesting thing to me about Lowe, when you think about him, or one of the most interesting things to me, outside of his distributing and his shot creation, was the fact that he's left-handed. Fun fact: all three of Kentucky's major backcourt contributors outside of Owe, Jasper, Akaden, Lowe, they're all left-handed. A bunch of southpaws in Lexington this season. That's going to be fun to watch. Kentucky seems to be prioritizing shot creation. I wrote this down on my notes. Lowe can get his own shot. Jasper can get his own shot. Akaden can get his own shot. Akaden is going to be so good. All three of these guys can handle, and can make things happen individually. Kentucky didn't have that last season. And Owe, it took him, I would say, half the season to figure out that he could take over like that at various points. But now that you've got 3 guys to go along with Owe, the backcourt's going to be great. Lowe is going to be phenomenal running point. This is a really good backcourt. This is a very, very good backcourt. And we've prioritized so much. What have we talked about? Development and making sure kids stick around. If you've got Lowe at the 1, Owe at the 2, let's just say that's how it turns out. Lowe at the 1, Owe at the 2, heck, Mo at the 3, Cam at the 4, what have you, right? You're going to have Jasper and a Caden coming back for another season more likely than not. You're going to have sophomore Caden, sophomore Jasper Johnson. Because they're going to be coming off the bench. At least it seems like it right now. Who knows? Maybe they get into practice and realize, hey, Caden's goated. We're playing him at PG. Whatever. They can all handle and create. You get a guy like Mo that can go downhill and score his own buckets. That's such a good back. That is a great backcourt. As Benjamin points out in the chat, so many interchangeable pieces. That's also another thing. Hey, Jasper and Caden are combo guards. That's what they're listed at. I think Jasper might be listed at shooting guard at some spots, but all of them can pass. All of them can. With your 5-man running so much as well, you're going to see Kentucky run a lot of zoom, and you're going to see guards get the ball and try to go downhill, and you're going to have 3 different kids that can not only create for themselves when things don't go right in an offensive structure, but also are great passers. They can find guys. This is going to be an incredible offense. It's going to be an incredible offense. As Peanut Butter Posse points out, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but watch a full game or half of Pitt. Lowe is not Lamont Butler. I think Pope must really like a Caden Lewis. I agree. He's not Lamont Butler. He is not as good defensively as Lamont Butler was. He still would have been, I think, the fourth best defender on Kentucky's team a season ago in just terms of raw defensive rating. My point when comparing him to Lamont is the expectation for increased production. I expect him to get better statistically in a better scheme. I expect him to look better playing for Mark Pope with a lower usage rate and more players around him that can help with your 5-man running stuff, by the way. Kyle Boston says, we needed athleticism. We got it with Diabate. I think you got it with Lowe here, too. The kid's got some wiggle and can handle. Yes, please. I need some kids with speed, man. These guys got it. Diabate's got it. Lowe's got it. Akade and Jasper, they've got it. I'm slightly concerned about our shooting ability, especially from 15 feet out. I think that's a very, very, very fair thing to say. I think that's a very fair thing to say. That's probably something we'll talk about this offseason a little bit. Like, hey, what's Kentucky's shooting look like? Is Jasper actually going to be like a great three-point shooter? Is Caden going to be a great three-point shooter? Do you get somebody like Colin Chandler to step up and be that three-point shooter? Cam was great, but the shot form's a little off. Does he keep it up 40+%? Maybe he does in this offensive structure. Who knows? Are we going to get the guy from Jack State? Not sure. Again, you see him following Kentucky staff and players on social media. I don't know. We'll see. Threes won't be to dive for when we can rebound. He's got a point. What position is most important to still be filled on our roster? I think center. I think the 5 is where you got to go get one more guy. Diabate being able to be as long and as athletic as he is, switching 1 through 3, or excuse me, not 1 through 3. Maybe defensively 1 through 4, but 3 through 4, excuse me. I think that's great because it allows you to go get a guy that's more hard set as like a wing or hard set as like a power forward and allow Mo to kind of switch. So it's Pope, add 5% to most stats. That's a pretty fair thing to say. Is Quaintance a legit possibility? I mean, they Zoom called with him today. Just watch the Houston game highlights. He has a heck of a motor. That's right. He played well against Houston. Played well against Kentucky in the SEC tournament. I'll give him that too. Just bullying, getting downhill. Fulgaris is out now. I think he's still in play. I believe so. So a lot of you are talking about Jaron Pierre, which you rightfully should. Right? But there's one more player I do want to talk about here today. We're already 31 minutes in. Holy cow. Before we get to that, read this. Peanut Butter Posse says, Colin Chandler is going to be top 3 in terms of importance on this roster. Everybody's sleeping on his late season surge. He's our Reed Shepherd, not hyperbole. I don't think he's going to be shooting 50% from 3, but I think that he's going to, yeah. I think you might be right there. He's going to be important. There's one more kid that I want to get to here. Everybody's talking about Pierre. There's a kid out of USC that I think would be an incredible get for Kentucky. Just adds to the shot creation and shot making that you could have here, and that's Wesley Yates III. So Wesley was a 4-star coming out of high school. He committed to Washington and redshirted. And the reason that he committed to Washington was that his cousin was on staff, Quincy Poindexter. Or Pondexter. I don't know how you pronounce it. His cousin was on staff. Redshirted. Then, this past offseason, both Yates and Quincy went to USC. And Yates played as a freshman and played very well, averaged over 14 points per game, shot over 40% from 3. As somebody in the chat notes, Yates played AAU ball with Jaylen Low, who just committed to Kentucky. I believe they were commenting, or Lowe was commenting on Wesley, or vice versa, something like that, their Instagram posts recently. The man was cooking for the Trojans as a freshman. He enters the portal, right? And according to KSR, their reporting said, I think Matt Jones tweeted about this. I think there was a public article written about this, about how Washington is expected to be involved, especially if Poindexter goes back to the Huskies. It was announced earlier today that Quincy would in fact not be returning to USC as a staff member. It has been confirmed that he's going back to Washington, but he's out on the market, right? So Washington's expected to be involved in this recruitment. Kentucky has already Zoomed with this kid. And let me tell you something. He is a fun player to watch. Just, he handles well. He finishes well. He's a little chaotic at times, but this kid's a scorer. This kid's got some bounce. He's got some juice, dude. I like it. He is a fun player to watch. 43% on left break threes. Bit of a weird shot, kind of pushes it, but it goes in. 34% on right break threes. He is a shooter. He is a shot creator and a scorer. He only has a 12% assist rate, but that doesn't reflect how solid of a passer he actually is, especially on pick and roll stuff. USC had this past season that Yates would find these really tight windows to dump off to, and 12, the big man, would try and rip the rim off essentially every time he got the ball. It's super fun to watch. The PNR was fun to watch. So all that's good and well, right? The 14 points, shooting 40% from 3, but what's the big thing here? He was the best catch-and-shoot player in the country. Yates was. 76% effective field goal percentage and catch-and-shoot shots. That's 100th percentile, meaning it's the best. Remember last season, off-season, Kentucky got Kobe Brea, who was in the 100th percentile of catch-and-shoot scorers. Could you pull it off back-to-back seasons where you get the best catch-and-shoot guy in the country? Who knows? All I'm saying is that if you don't get Pierre, you get Yates, that backcourt is loaded. You'd have to slide Dawe down to the 3, and you'd have to play Cam and Diabate at the 4. Then that's the question of, like, do you put Fulgaris at the 5, and that's your third center, and you just rock with it, and you rotate up. Colin Chandler and Dawe split time at the 3. I don't know. I do not know. 75th percentile of ball screen handler scores. He can get downhill. He can stop and pop at the free throw line. He can step back from 3. Again, kid is a joy to watch. Wesley is. 60th percentile of transition score. He's got some speed, but he's got some patience as well. I think he shows that both in the half court and in transition, where he'll go, he'll stop, he'll go. 84th percentile of spot-up scores, 52nd percentile of ISO scores, 81st percentile of off-ball screen scores. Kid gets it done so many different ways, and it's fun to watch. He is so fun to watch. One of my favorite transfer portal players I've gotten to see and kind of break down for you guys. I would love to see Yates. I personally, if I had to pick, I'd get Yates, I'd get Quaintance, or there's somebody else that can actually play defense and go with it. Maybe it's Fulgaris. Maybe it's somebody else that we don't know yet. Maybe it's a European player. Apparently, that could be on the table too. Kentucky's roster it is in a great spot right now. They're prioritizing shot creation. They are prioritizing athleticism, and they are prioritizing length. Yes, we know what Mark Pope said on his radio show about he wants character, he wants shooting, he wants decision-making. You're getting that, obviously, but you're getting more. What Kentucky lacked, you're getting that again, and I'm super excited. Perry and Noah have never had to play defense in high school. They played zone. They'll catch up soon enough. Hopefully, man. You can't teach speed. Yates is said to be close friends with Jaylen Low. Man, just Low, Yates, Dawe, Williams or Diabate, Garrison. And then you got all those guys off. That's a deep team, man. That's a good team. Fulgaris is no D. When I looked at his defensive rating, I thought it was okay. I'd actually have to watch him play, though, to kind of get an idea, because stats aren't everything, obviously. How many more guys do you believe Pope wants to? His defensive rating was 95.4. That's insane. Maybe Fulgaris was actually pretty good on D. What was his block? What was he getting snagging? Well, yeah, 1.3 steals, 1.1 blocks. I'd take that at the 4. Yeah, he's a good, statistically, he's a good defender. Watch a game. I'll watch a game. See what's that. I'll probably go watch that Bama game to see, because if he's like slow, then that, yeah, I don't think we snag more than 2 players tops. Pope could run a solid 5-man rotation with different schemes and rec teams. I know I swear we've made the joke about it every single offseason I've done the show. Platoon, ? I know everybody says, like, no, don't do the platoon, no. Which, just to be clear, we're never going to do it again. Nobody's going to do it again. It's fun to talk about, though. Who's the best center left in the portal? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. I could probably give you some of that. That's probably what tomorrow's show is going to be on. It's probably going to be on, hey, who's the best 5-man that we can get? Riley from San Fran. Riley announced that he's going to be returning to San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. So he will be withdrawing from the portal. 3 more players. I don't know, especially if you want Colin Chandler to be a factor. Getting Diabate changes things, man. It changes, like, what you're going to do at the 4, because I think you may be done. Do you think this team's better than the one we just had? I think it's better than the one we just had in the fact that it's going to be more athletic. I don't want to say infinitely more athletic. It's going to be a lot more athletic. I think it's going to be faster. I think they're going to be just more. They'll be more quick. Will they be more efficient offensively? I don't know. Will they be better defensively? I I'd be shocked if they weren't. So, I don't know if I can read that, Peanut Butter Posse, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. The 6'11 kid from overseas, I watched some of his stuff. I can't remember his name. One of them committed to Creighton. The other one is considering college. I need to do research on him. That's all I know, is that he looks good, but I need to actually watch and see if he'd be worth taking a flyer on. So, guys, we are 40 minutes in. I think that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's crazy, like 600-something people in here. 600-something people in here just breaking down Kentucky hoops. Diabate commits to Kentucky. Jaylen Low commits to Kentucky. See where the staff goes from here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. You can follow the show on Twitter at LockedOnUK. You can follow me on Twitter at @LanceDaw_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.